breaking down the wide receiver room. I think this is fascinating because you got guys left over from last season that, got their feet wet, 15, 20, 25 catches, and that are somewhat established. But then we got this good influx of guys like Winston Wright caught 63 balls at West Virginia last year. Micah Pittman showed some flashes at Oregon. And, of course, Malik McClain, as a guy that's already at Florida State, was a guy that obviously a lot of people were high on after the spring game last year. So I'm just barely touching the wide receivers. So take it from there.
Yeah, no, the transfer room did some work for Mike Norvell and Ron Dugans and that staff, bringing in some competition. I don't think Norvell was too happy with what the production was last year. It's pretty obvious now, and you bring in 4 transfer wide receivers who have had experience already in the college system. Some young guys too, but you bring in a veteran like Micah Pittman, who has a lot of respect there and has been making some strides during tour of duty, Florida State's workouts. Johnny Wilson, who is definitely has a height advantage and has that height threat to definitely in the red zone, which I think Florida State will use him a lot in. Not only that, but in blocking too. We talked about him during the newcomer interviews, and he said that, one thing that he prides himself on is making those blocks for his running back to take it 70 yards down the field, making those blocks definitely in the red zone too, if they're taking a running back out to the side, and Wilson is ready to block whenever. And, Florida State and Mike Norvell, you will get a lot of playing time if you want to block. We saw Malik McClain, who we were hearing, had a tough start getting acclimated to the college experience and workouts and practices. And that's made a switch this last spring. I mean, we saw, things we need to watch out for is last spring. I mean, Malik McClain was taking the most reps on offense out of anybody, between him and Jordan Travis, maybe a few of the offensive linemen, he was taking the most reps. And that went to show Malik McClain switched things around, and he was fully bought in. And, Malik has a big time spring ahead of him because, he's going to most likely try to hold on to that starting spot like he had last season. He'll be going into his true second year as a Seminole. I have a lot of expectations for McClain, and I don't think I'm the only person that FSU coaching staff is feeling the same way. And there's so many guys, veterans that are behind. Like, you've still got Portier, you've got Jordan Young, you've got Keyshawn Helton, you got Ontario Wilson, you've got Darian Williamson. I mean, there's a lot of veteran guys, and someone's going to be transferring. Someone's going to be leaving. You can't have all these guys in this room, and I don't think a lot of these transfers decide to transfer and be one and done there and be leaving again. I think there's going to be some guys, some veterans at Florida State that either they're going to be ready to compete and full send it, or they're going to, enter their name in the transfer portal. But this wide receiver room has a whole lot of different storylines around it. And I still think a guy like you have down here, Mark, Ontario Wilson, is someone not really to look over. I thought, had some strides last season. You lose Andrew Parchment, but there was a lot of inconsistencies there and a lot of maybe a letdown on maybe what the production he was supposed to be bringing coming from Kansas. And this room has a lot of things to follow here. I feel like, multiple handfuls of guys that are going to be competing for a starting spot. But this Winston Wright is someone that I'm keeping a close eye on and becoming a starter day one, just because of speed advantage, his experience, having those 63 receptions last season. I could see him taking over the spot from Keyshawn Helton there in the slot. So this room is going to be incredible to watch. It's going to be incredible.